Have you ever wondered if the people around you are truly who they say they are? Are there people in your life who act differently when you're not looking? Do you find yourself questioning the motives of those who seem too good to be true? These are the questions that can help you see through the illusions that surround us daily. In our busy, fast-paced world, we interact with countless individuals. But how can you tell who is genuine and who is pretending? The truth is, there are more fake people around us than we may realize, and the ability to spot them can save us from unnecessary harm and disappointment. But how do we recognize these false personas without jumping to conclusions or becoming too paranoid? It's all about understanding the signs and staying mindful of our own emotions. Imagine this. You're at a gathering, and someone seems incredibly friendly, saying all the right things, making you feel at ease. But when the conversation shifts, they begin to speak badly about others. They make promises they never keep, and suddenly you're left wondering, was this person ever genuine? Or did they just wear a mask to gain your trust? This is just one example of how fake behavior can reveal itself. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we dive into deeper understanding and the wisdom to transform your life. If you're looking to recognize the people who might not have your best interests at heart, you're in the right place. This video will help you see the masks others wear and how to protect yourself from being misled. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep gaining valuable insights that will help you grow. Stick with us as we explore the real, unfiltered truths about the people around you. In the next part, we'll delve deeper into how we can understand the true nature of those we interact with, by recognizing the signs of deception in everyday life. The nature of deception in human relationships. In the world of human connections, there is a fundamental truth. Every person you meet is wearing a mask. Some masks are thin, barely noticeable, while others are heavy, concealing the true self beneath. We often wear masks ourselves, acting in ways we believe others expect of us. Yet, the moment we begin to question these layers, we uncover something deeper, something real. Deception isn't always about lies or betrayal. Sometimes, it's simply the gap between who someone truly is and who they show you they are. And this gap is wider than you might think. The nature of deception in human relationships is a subtle art, one that can easily go unnoticed if we are not mindful. But just as you can see a shadow in the sunlight, you can also see the small signs of falseness if you pay attention. Every time someone tells you one thing but their actions speak another, there is a hint of deception. It's in the way a person tells you they care but never follows through with support. It's in the way someone listens to you with interest, but when you leave, they forget your words. The deceit is not always deliberate, but it can still be damaging. These small acts can wear away your trust, just as water slowly erodes a stone. The most common form of deception is not grand lies, but simple inconsistencies in behavior. People often say what others want to hear, repeating words that they think will please or impress. They may mimic kindness, generosity, or concern, but their actions don't align. Their gestures are superficial, their words hollow, and their presence feels like a fleeting shadow. In these moments, there is a deep truth hiding beneath the surface. They are not truly present with you. Their attention is divided, their intentions unclear. One of the key factors that drive this behavior is the need for validation. People crave recognition, admiration, and acceptance from others. To get it, they wear masks that fit the expectations of the moment. These masks may take different forms. Someone might pretend to be confident, successful, caring, or knowledgeable, but all of it is an act to fulfill their desire for approval. The more they seek this validation, the further they stray from their true selves. We, too, can fall into the trap of wearing masks. Perhaps we pretend to be stronger than we are, more certain in our decisions, or kinder than our true feelings allow. But the moment we begin to recognize our own masks, we gain a powerful insight into the nature of others' masks. This is not about judgment, but about awareness. Seeing beyond the surface to understand the deeper truths that often go unspoken. When we see someone acting inauthentically, it is important to pause and ask ourselves why. What is it that they fear revealing? What truth are they hiding? The Buddhist teaching of right understanding can help us in these moments. Right understanding calls for clarity of mind and the ability to see things as they truly are. It urges us to avoid assumptions and judgments, and instead, to approach situations with an open heart and mind. This understanding doesn't mean we accept all behaviors without question. It means we look with clear eyes, understanding that the person before us may be struggling with their own insecurities, fears, and desires. When we understand this, we are less likely to be deceived by the masks others wear, and we are less likely to fall into the trap of wearing our own. Deception, in its simplest form, is the act of not showing the true self. But what causes someone to hide? What is the root of this behavior? It often comes from a place of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. People hide because they believe that their true self is not worthy of love or acceptance. This is where the deeper Buddhist wisdom comes into play. The understanding that all beings are interconnected, that we are all worthy of compassion and understanding, just as we are. In the Buddhist tradition, there is a teaching called anatta, or the doctrine of no self. It suggests that the self we think we know is just an illusion, a collection of thoughts, emotions, and experiences that we cling to. When we realize that our own identity is not fixed, we begin to let go of the need for validation. We stop clinging to our masks and start embracing the fluidity of our true nature. So, when someone else wears a mask, remember that it is not a reflection of their true nature. It is a reflection of their fears, their struggles, and their attachments. They are not bad people. They are simply caught in the same web of illusion that we all are. By understanding this, we stop seeing them as enemies or deceivers, and we begin to see them with compassion. This is not to excuse harmful behavior, but to acknowledge that every person is on their own journey of self-discovery. When we start seeing others through the lens of compassion, we can begin to detach ourselves from the need for approval. We no longer seek validation from those around us, and we stop wearing masks to please others. We start showing up as we are, fully authentic, with all our flaws and imperfections. And in doing so, we invite others to do the same. In Buddhist teachings, there is a practice called metta, or loving kindness. It involves sending thoughts of goodwill and compassion to others, even those who may deceive or hurt us. It is a practice that helps us remain grounded in our own true nature, no matter the masks that others may wear. When we send love and understanding to those who deceive, we not only free them from their illusions, but we also free ourselves from the need to control or change them. As we move through life, it's essential to remember that deception is not just about dishonesty. It's about the masks people wear to protect themselves from vulnerability. If we can learn to see beyond these masks, we can form deeper, more genuine connections with others. But we must first be honest with ourselves. We must take off our own masks and face the truth of who we are. This is not always easy. It requires us to be vulnerable, to acknowledge our fears, and to let go of our attachments. But it is through this vulnerability that we discover true freedom. When we stop pretending, we begin to see the world as it truly is, and we begin to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. In the end, the masks we wear are not the problem. It is our attachment to them that causes suffering. The more we cling to these false identities, the more we create separation between ourselves and others. But when we let go of the need to pretend, we find peace, we find freedom, and we find the true connections we've been searching for all along. As you move forward in your journey, remember, deception is not a reflection of who you are, but of the fears that others carry. See through the masks, and you'll begin to see the person beneath. And as you see them for who they truly are, you will begin to understand them, accept them, and, most importantly, understand yourself. Understanding intentions through words and actions. To see clearly, we must listen deeply. Often, the words people speak hide the truth of what lies beneath. The wise know this. They listen not only to the words spoken, but to the space between them, the silence that tells a story we might miss. It is here, in this silence, that we find the truth of people's intentions. Many times, others will speak sweetly, promising you the world, but their actions say something entirely different. If their words are kind, but their actions are cold, it's time to pause and ask, what is the intention behind this behavior? A person's actions are the truest reflection of their heart, not their words. Consider this. A friend says, "I'm always here for you." But when you need them most, they are nowhere to be found. This contradiction between what is said and what is done shows a gap in authenticity. The wise do not rush to conclusions, but they trust the consistency between a person's words and their actions. It's not enough to hear good things. We must also see them unfold in reality. In Buddhism, we learn that intention is everything. In fact, it is said that our actions begin with intention, and it is this intention that shapes the consequences of what we do. If someone's intention is not pure, no matter how they dress it up with kind words, it will not lead to positive outcomes. It is important, then, to observe people's intentions, not just what they say, but what they do when no one is watching. This is where mindfulness plays a crucial role. By practicing mindfulness, we begin to notice these subtleties. We start to hear the words that are left unsaid. We see through the masks people wear. Imagine sitting quietly in a room with someone. You may not even need to exchange words to understand their energy. The way they carry themselves, the slight shifts in their expression, the energy in their gaze. These things are often far more telling than what they say. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt something was off, even when someone was smiling and speaking kindly to you? That feeling in your gut, that moment of doubt, is not something to ignore. Your instincts are sharp, and they are trying to show you the gap between someone's words and their true intentions. In these moments, you must listen to your heart, for it often knows before your mind does. Intentions, however, are not always so obvious. Sometimes, they are hidden beneath layers of defensiveness, fear, or desire. People may act with good intentions, but those intentions can be clouded by personal need, insecurity, or a lack of self-awareness. A person may want to help, but their actions may stem from a desire to feel needed or loved. Recognizing this distinction is vital in understanding the deeper layers of human interaction. In Buddhism, we are taught not to judge a person for their actions alone, but to look deeper into their mind and heart. What is their motivation? What is driving them? We can ask ourselves, is this person acting out of wisdom, compassion, or something else? If we take the time to pause, reflect, and practice awareness, we will begin to uncover the true nature of people's intentions. True friends, in the Buddhist sense, act with pure intention. They offer help not because they expect something in return, but because they genuinely wish to relieve suffering. Their actions are not about proving themselves, but about acting in harmony with their understanding of interconnectedness. They understand that helping others benefits not just the other person, but also themselves. They do not seek to control or manipulate. Their kindness is rooted in wisdom, not in a need to gain approval. On the other hand, those whose intentions are not pure may act out of self-interest. They may say kind things, but behind their actions is a hidden agenda. Perhaps they want something from you. Perhaps they want to feel powerful or validated. The wise do not judge them harshly for this, but they understand the importance of seeing through the mask. They know that recognizing the true intention behind someone's actions is a key to navigating relationships with clarity. For example, imagine someone who constantly offers you help but always seems to bring up how much they've done for you. They say, "I'm just trying to help you." But every gesture feels like an attempt to gain recognition or gratitude. This person's actions, though seemingly helpful, are not motivated by selflessness. The wise do not react with anger, but with understanding. They recognize the difference between a kind action and one motivated by self-interest. It's also important to understand that not all actions are easy to interpret. Sometimes, people's intentions may be unclear to us because they are unsure of their own motives. In such cases, it is our responsibility to give them space to reflect on their actions. We may ask ourselves, are they acting from a place of clarity and mindfulness, or from confusion and doubt? Understanding this helps us approach situations with patience, not rushing to conclusions. As we continue to observe the world around us, it's crucial to develop the habit of looking beyond the surface. In everyday life, many of us get caught up in the words, the promises, and the external signs of goodwill. But the wise know better. They know that true wisdom comes from observing people's actions over time, looking for patterns, and being patient enough to understand the full picture. In relationships, whether personal or professional, always remember that actions speak louder than words. If someone promises you the world but never follows through, their intentions are not pure. If someone speaks kindly to you, but their actions hurt or manipulate you, their intentions are tainted. It is in these moments that we must stop and ask, what is this person truly trying to communicate to me through their actions? The Buddhist practice of mindfulness helps us to see these discrepancies with clarity. By being present in the moment, we begin to notice when things don't add up. We start to sense when something feels off, even if the words seem right. It is in these moments that our wisdom grows. The more we practice mindfulness, the clearer we become about the intentions of others. As we continue to navigate the world, let us not be fooled by the sweet words and smooth promises of those around us. Let us instead look at the actions behind the words, and let our hearts guide us to the truth. By doing so, we can create a circle of true friends, people whose actions align with their words, whose intentions are pure, and whose presence brings peace, not confusion. In the next part, we will explore how to recognize the deeper layers of people's intentions, especially when their actions seem ambiguous or unclear. Through practice and awareness, we can learn to see clearly, understanding the true nature of those we meet, and in doing so, we protect ourselves from the deceptions that so often surround us. The role of ego and fake behavior. In the world we live in, there is one force that drives many of the actions we take without even realizing it. That force is the ego. The ego is like a mask we wear, a false identity that we project to the world, hoping to be accepted, admired, or loved. It makes us believe that we are separate from others, more important, or somehow better. But this illusion of the ego, the belief in a self that is distinct and superior, is at the root of fake behavior. When people behave in a fake way, it is often the ego that is pushing them. The ego wants to be seen in a particular way, to create an image of oneself that is admired by others. But underneath this image lies a deep fear, a fear of being seen as weak, insignificant, or unworthy. So, the ego builds a false self to protect against these fears. The ego convinces people that they must present themselves as something they are not in order to gain respect, love, or success. Have you ever encountered someone who constantly brags, tells stories of their achievements, or always needs to be the center of attention? This is often the ego at work, feeding on the need to appear important. It can create a persona that is far removed from the person's true nature. The ego is not interested in being real. It wants to be seen, admired, and praised. It is about image, not substance. And this is where the danger lies. When we allow the ego to take charge, we stop being true to ourselves. We start to wear a mask, hiding our true feelings, intentions, and desires. We become actors on a stage, performing a role that others want us to play, rather than living authentically. This leads to fake behavior, not just in others, but in ourselves as well. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called Anatman, or no-self. It is the understanding that the self we cling to, the ego, is an illusion. It is not fixed, permanent, or real. It is a collection of thoughts, feelings, and experiences that we identify with, but it is not who we truly are. When we hold on to the ego, we become trapped in a cycle of seeking validation, trying to protect ourselves from the world, and fearing rejection. But when we let go of the ego, we begin to see ourselves and others more clearly. The ego keeps us in a constant state of comparison. We look at others and measure ourselves against them, always trying to be better or different. This comparison breeds insecurity and causes us to act in ways that are not authentic. We may pretend to be someone we're not, trying to impress others or gain approval. But deep inside, we know that this is not who we truly are. Fake behavior comes from the desire to maintain an image, to protect the ego from being exposed for what it really is. People may pretend to be confident when they feel insecure, act generous when they are actually selfish, or say they care when their actions show otherwise. All of this comes from a place of fear. The fear of not being enough, of not being loved, or of being seen for who we truly are. To break free from this cycle, we must first become aware of our own egos and how they influence our behavior. We must ask ourselves, are we acting this way because it is truly who we are, or because we want to be seen in a certain light? When we let go of the need to appear perfect or impressive, we allow ourselves to be real. We stop pretending, and we start living authentically. This is not always easy, because the ego is powerful. It tells us that if we show our true selves, we will be judged, rejected, or ignored. It whispers that we must protect our image, even if it means hiding our true feelings or desires. But if we can quiet this voice, we can begin to see the world with clarity. We can stop projecting fake images of ourselves and start connecting with others on a deeper, more genuine level. In relationships, when both parties are driven by their egos, it becomes impossible to connect. We may think we know someone, but in reality, we only know the version of them that they want us to see. The ego gets in the way of true intimacy and understanding. It keeps us from being honest, vulnerable, and open with each other. However, when we begin to let go of our own ego, we create space for others to do the same. We stop judging them for their masks, and instead, we see them as they truly are. In turn, this helps us form more authentic relationships. We begin to attract people who are also willing to be real, people who are not afraid to show their true selves, even if it means exposing their flaws. The ego also plays a significant role in how we view the world around us. When we are caught in the grip of ego, we see others as competitors, threats, or obstacles to our success. We may even go so far as to manipulate, deceive, or use others to protect our fragile sense of self. But when we let go of the ego, we see the interconnectedness of all beings. We realize that everyone is struggling with the same fears, doubts, and insecurities. We stop seeing others as enemies or obstacles and begin to see them as fellow travelers on the path of life. This shift in perspective is crucial for recognizing fake behavior. Once we can see beyond the ego, we can recognize when others are acting out of fear or insecurity. We can sense when someone is pretending to be something they are not. But more importantly, we can also recognize when we are doing the same. When we release the grip of the ego, we can stop pretending to be perfect. We can accept ourselves for who we truly are, flaws and all. And in doing so, we stop feeding into the cycle of fake behavior. We become more authentic, more grounded, and more at peace with ourselves. This process takes time and patience. It requires us to be mindful of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. We must constantly check in with ourselves to see if we are acting from a place of authenticity or ego. It is not about being perfect, but about being real. And in this authenticity, we find true freedom. By practicing mindfulness and letting go of our attachment to the ego, we can recognize fake behavior both in ourselves and in others. We stop being fooled by the masks people wear and start to see the truth beneath the surface. We learn to connect with others on a deeper level, free from the illusions of the ego. And in doing so, we create a life that is more real, more honest, and ultimately, more fulfilling. In the next part, we will explore how to spot emotional manipulation and insincerity, and how to protect ourselves from falling into the traps set by those who are driven by their egos. Spotting emotional manipulation and insincerity. In life, we encounter many different kinds of people, some who seem genuine and others who wear masks. Among the most dangerous are those who manipulate emotions. These individuals don't show you who they truly are. They use your feelings to control, to gain, to deceive. The challenge is learning to see through these emotional games and understanding when someone is not being sincere. Emotional manipulation is like a shadow. It doesn't announce itself. It follows you, quietly, constantly, until you feel overwhelmed. One moment, you feel loved, cared for, and understood. The next, you feel guilt, confusion, or even fear. This is the way these manipulators work. They know how to make you doubt yourself, how to twist your emotions to fit their needs. But, as we explore the teachings of Buddhism, we come to understand that emotions, while powerful, are not who we are. They are like clouds in the sky, ever-changing, passing, and not to be confused with the true nature of our being. Emotional manipulators understand this weakness. They see that we often define ourselves by our feelings, and they exploit that. The Buddhist path teaches us that true wisdom comes from recognizing that emotions are not permanent. They are passing events in our minds. When someone uses guilt to make you feel like you owe them something, whether it's your time, your energy, or your love, ask yourself, is this a genuine connection? Or am I being pulled into a cycle of guilt and manipulation? A real relationship is not built on emotional pressure or guilt. It is built on mutual respect, kindness, and trust. A key lesson in Buddhism is to be mindful of our own reactions. When someone makes you feel guilty or manipulated, take a step back. Breathe. You don't need to react immediately. Instead, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this emotion truly mine, or has it been placed there by someone else? When you take a moment to pause, you begin to see through the illusion of emotional manipulation. This is not to say that all emotions are bad. Far from it. Emotions can be beautiful, they can connect us to others, and they can be the source of great compassion. But when they are used to control, they become dangerous. A manipulator uses your compassion to weaken your resolve, to make you do things you wouldn't normally do. Think about a time when you've been made to feel responsible for someone else's happiness. Have you ever been in a situation where someone said, "If you really love me, you would"? This is emotional manipulation at its finest. The words seem innocent enough, but the intention behind them is to place the burden of their emotional well-being on your shoulders. Buddhism teaches us that we are not responsible for other people's emotions. We cannot control how others feel, just as they cannot control how we feel. To live authentically, we must allow others to feel what they need to feel and learn to set boundaries for our own emotional safety. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. You must learn to trust your instincts. When something feels off, don't dismiss it. Emotional manipulators often rely on your doubt, your inability to trust yourself. The more you dismiss your own feelings, the easier it is for them to play on your insecurities. But when you trust your inner wisdom, you begin to see the patterns of manipulation more clearly. Another form of emotional manipulation is the use of flattery. It sounds harmless, even kind, but it's a tool. A manipulator will shower you with praise, make you feel special, and flatter your ego. This is done to create a sense of indebtedness. They want you to feel good, so that you feel obligated to return the favor. But real love, real friendship, does not demand anything in return. True generosity comes without expectation. Emotional manipulators may also make you feel like you are the cause of their distress. They might tell you that you've hurt them, or that you're the reason for their sadness. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to fix their emotions, but this is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to remain compassionate, yet aware, and to protect your own emotional well-being. In Buddhism, we learn the art of equanimity, the ability to remain calm and balanced regardless of external circumstances. This means that, no matter how someone else is behaving, you do not allow their emotions to disturb your peace. You can care for someone deeply without being dragged into their emotional turmoil. When you start practicing mindfulness, you begin to notice the subtleties in people's behavior. You see how they may use their emotions to get what they want. You see how they play on your fears, your kindness, your compassion. But the more you practice mindfulness, the more you learn to detach from these manipulations. You recognize that their emotional turmoil is not yours to fix, and you no longer feel the urge to rescue them. One powerful tool in spotting emotional manipulation is learning how to listen, not just to what people say, but to how they say it. Are their words consistent with their actions? Do they say one thing and do another? Genuine people speak truth, but manipulators often use words that sound good without meaning anything at all. They may use vague language to keep you uncertain, to keep you hooked. A Buddhist practice that helps with this is right speech. This practice encourages us to speak truthfully, to speak kindly, and to avoid speech that causes harm. When we commit to this practice, we begin to notice when others are not speaking truthfully, when their words do not align with their actions. In some ways, emotional manipulators are like actors on a stage, performing for an audience. They craft a persona, a role they play, and they do it so well that it's hard to distinguish the act from the reality. But beneath the surface, there is nothing real. The more you watch, the more you realize that their true nature is hidden. Recognizing emotional manipulation requires courage. It requires the courage to face the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. But with the clarity that mindfulness brings, you begin to see through the illusion. You no longer feel the need to play along, to pretend, to accommodate. You simply let go of what isn't true and embrace what is. Ultimately, the path to freedom from emotional manipulation lies in self-awareness. When you are clear about who you are, when you are grounded in your own wisdom, you will no longer be easily swayed by the tricks of others. You will see the masks people wear and understand that they are not who they appear to be. And when you recognize the insincerity in others, you can let them go without guilt, without fear. This is the essence of Buddhism, the ability to live authentically, to be present in the moment, and to recognize the illusion of emotions that manipulate and control. It's about understanding that your true nature is not swayed by the external drama, and that you have the power to live a life of peace and clarity, regardless of what happens around you. As you walk this path, remember this. You are not responsible for the emotional manipulation of others. Your responsibility is to yourself, to stay true to your nature, to live with integrity, and to act with kindness. And when you encounter those who manipulate, recognize them for who they are, and let them go with compassion. Let your own wisdom guide you, and you will remain free from their influence. The practice of mindful observation. In the stillness of a quiet moment, a thought arises. What am I missing in the people around me? It is not the loudest words that tell the truth, nor the brightest smiles that reveal authenticity. No, truth is in the space between actions, in the silence after the words are spoken, in the subtleties that slip by unnoticed in the rush of our daily lives. Here, in the gentle awareness of the present moment, we begin the practice of mindful observation. It is easy to get swept away by emotions, to be drawn into the flow of someone's charm or persuasive words. But a Zen master knows, the true measure of a person's character is in their consistency. Are their actions aligned with their words? Do they remain the same when others aren't watching? Fake people wear many masks, changing their appearance to suit the moment. But if you watch closely, you will see that masks cannot fully cover the truth. Mindful observation begins with the breath. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. As you breathe, slow down the rush of thoughts, calm the impulse to react. In the space between your thoughts, you begin to see clearly. You begin to observe, not judge, not criticize, just observe. The true nature of people reveals itself not through grand gestures, but through the small, seemingly insignificant details. Watch their body language. Listen to the tone of their voice. Pay attention to how they treat others when they think no one is looking. When someone is fake, they often leave a trail of inconsistency. One moment they are kind and compassionate, the next they are cold or indifferent. They may say they care, but their actions do not follow through. Do you see the disconnect? This is where mindfulness comes in. A Zen master does not rely on assumptions or surface-level impressions. Instead, they observe with an open mind, allowing the truth to unfold naturally without forcing it. In your own life, how often do you rush to conclusions? How often do you trust the words someone says without looking deeper? Fake people know how to speak the right words, but their actions tell a different story. It is in the moments when their actions contradict their words that the mask begins to crack. This is the time to practice mindfulness, to take a step back and observe without bias. The Zen approach to mindfulness teaches us to be present, fully engaged in the here and now. This means paying attention to the present moment, not caught up in the future or the past, but simply being with what is. This practice helps us see clearly, with no interference from our own judgments or expectations. When you observe people with mindfulness, you are not looking for faults or flaws, but rather the truth of their nature. What do their actions reveal about who they truly are? Think of the example of a leaf floating on a stream. The water moves it gently, but it remains true to its nature, drifting with the flow of the current. Similarly, fake people may be carried along by the tide of social expectations, but their true nature cannot be hidden forever. Over time, the mask they wear will slip, and their true intentions will surface. It is through mindful observation that we can notice these subtle shifts. Sometimes, fake people are so skilled at hiding their true selves that we need to approach the situation with patience. A Zen master does not rush to conclusions or judgments. Instead, they wait, they watch, they listen, and in time, the truth becomes clear. Patience and observation allows you to see beyond the surface, beyond the words, and into the heart of the matter. Consider the way people behave when they are under pressure. In stressful situations, the true self often comes out. Fake people may act composed when everything is calm, but when faced with difficulty or discomfort, their true nature is exposed. Do they remain calm, or do they react with anger, defensiveness, or manipulation? This is a moment to observe, to practice mindfulness, and to discern their true character. But remember, mindfulness is not about judgment. It is about awareness. It is about observing the present moment with a clear mind and an open heart. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see things as they truly are. Fake people, despite their masks, cannot hide forever. In your own life, you may find that there are people who wear different faces depending on the situation. They may act one way with certain people and another way with others. This is the nature of a mask. It changes to fit the moment. But when you observe mindfully, you will notice the inconsistencies. You will see the patterns. And over time, you will learn to recognize the masks for what they are. Fake people often seek validation. They crave attention and praise, but their actions do not match their words. They may say they want to help others, but their actions show otherwise. The true nature of a person is not in their words of kindness, but in the way they act when no one is watching. A Zen master understands that true generosity is not about seeking recognition or praise. It is about giving without expectation, without attachment to the outcome. As you practice mindful observation, you will find that you begin to trust your intuition more. You will start to notice the subtle cues that tell you when something isn't quite right. These cues are not always obvious, but with practice, they become easier to detect. The more you observe without judgment, the more you will develop a deep understanding of people and their true intentions. Mindfulness also helps you avoid being manipulated. Fake people often try to control situations, to influence others for their own gain. They may use flattery, promises, or guilt to get what they want. But when you are mindful, you can see through these tactics. You become aware of their true motives, and you can respond with wisdom and clarity. The Zen path teaches us to be present with what is, without judgment. When you observe people through this lens, you free yourself from the noise of opinions and assumptions. You simply see things as they are. And in this clarity, you find the truth. Fake people may try to deceive you, but if you are mindful, their deception cannot last. Through mindful observation, you begin to develop a deep sense of awareness. This awareness allows you to see past the masks people wear, to recognize the authenticity or lack thereof in their behavior. As you become more attuned to these subtleties, you begin to make wiser choices about who to trust, who to let into your life, and who to keep at a distance. So, take a deep breath. Slow down, look closely, and observe with an open mind. The truth is always there, waiting for you to see it. Trust in your ability to discern, and in the power of mindfulness to reveal what lies beneath the surface. Buddhist insights on authenticity and deception. In the quiet moments of life, when we let go of distractions, we can begin to see more clearly. It is here, in the stillness of our minds, that we can recognize the truth behind the words and actions of others. The Buddha taught that in order to truly understand the world, we must first understand ourselves. When we are clear and honest with ourselves, we can see through the masks that others wear. When someone is pretending to be something they are not, their actions often betray them. Deception cannot hide in a heart that is at peace. A person who is honest with themselves does not need to wear a mask. They act naturally, without the need for pretense. But for those who are lost in the web of illusion, their behavior can seem convincing at first. They may smile, speak kindly, and promise much, but their true intentions can be seen in their actions, or in the lack of them. The Buddha said that all things are impermanent. This includes the facades we put on and the lies we tell. A false persona may appear for a time, but like all things, it will eventually fade. If we pay close attention, we can see the cracks in the illusion. The Buddha taught us to look beyond surface appearances and to cultivate insight. This insight allows us to see people as they truly are, not as they want us to believe. In Buddhism, there is a concept called samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This cycle is not only about life and death, but about the constant cycle of illusions we create for ourselves and others. We often find ourselves trapped in these illusions, unable to see the truth. We wear masks, and others wear masks too. It is only through self-awareness and mindfulness that we can begin to see beyond the masks. One of the most powerful teachings of the Buddha is about right speech. Right speech means speaking truthfully, in a way that does not deceive or cause harm. It is not just about what we say, but also about what we don't say. False words, like false actions, can lead to misunderstanding, pain, and separation. When someone speaks in ways that are not genuine, their words create a barrier between them and others. But when we speak truthfully, with compassion, the barrier disappears. Similarly, when we encounter someone who is not being authentic, we must recognize that their behavior comes from a place of fear or desire. In Buddhism, we learn that attachment to the self, whether it's to our image, our reputation, or our possessions, leads to suffering. The fake people we encounter are often caught in this cycle of attachment. They feel the need to impress or deceive others in order to feel worthy or secure. But this attachment only causes them more suffering, and ultimately, it harms those around them. The Buddha teaches us to cultivate metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, for all beings. Even when we encounter someone who is not being authentic, we are encouraged to respond with compassion. This does not mean that we should accept their behavior or ignore their falsehoods. Instead, we can choose to see their suffering for what it is and respond with understanding. This way, we can protect ourselves from being harmed by their deception, while also maintaining our peace. Recognizing fake people does not require judgment. It requires clarity. When we see through the illusions of others, we do not need to label them as bad or wrong. We simply acknowledge that they are lost in the cycle of samsara, just as we all are. And in this recognition, we can feel a sense of compassion and wisdom. We do not need to take their deception personally, for it is not about us. It is about their own inner struggles and fears. In Buddhist practice, we are also taught to cultivate vipassana, insight meditation, which helps us see things as they truly are. When we sit in silence and turn our attention inward, we begin to understand our own illusions. We see where we have been dishonest with ourselves, and where we have created false stories about the world. It is only when we see our own illusions that we can truly see through the illusions of others. This practice of mindfulness allows us to remain grounded in the truth, no matter what masks others may wear. The Buddhist teachings remind us that the path to enlightenment is a path of liberation from all illusions. It is a path of letting go of attachment to our false selves and to the false selves of others. When we see through the illusion of a fake person, we are seeing them as they truly are, suffering beings who are caught in the cycle of desire and attachment. And when we respond with wisdom and compassion, we help them, not by confronting them, but by setting an example of authenticity. A truly authentic person is someone who lives without the need for approval or recognition. They are free from the weight of others' expectations, and they act in a way that reflects their true nature. This is the kind of person we should aspire to be, and the kind of person we should seek to surround ourselves with. The Buddha said, "You are what you think. All that you are arises from your thoughts." When we cultivate our minds and hearts in truth, we attract authenticity into our lives. It is not always easy to spot a fake person, especially when they are skilled at hiding behind their masks. But with the practice of mindfulness and the wisdom of the Buddhist teachings, we can begin to see through the illusions. We must trust our inner wisdom, listen to our intuition, and not be afraid to walk away from situations that feel inauthentic. As we practice mindfulness, we become more attuned to the subtle signs of dishonesty, whether in ourselves or in others. In Buddhism, there is a concept called right view, which is the understanding of the world as it truly is. When we practice right view, we see things clearly. We see the impermanence of all things, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the suffering that arises from illusion. When we look at others through the lens of right view, we can recognize the masks they wear and the suffering that causes them to wear them. We can see beyond their false personas and acknowledge their true nature. As we continue on our journey, we must remind ourselves that the people we encounter are all on their own paths. Some are closer to the truth, while others are still lost in their illusions. Our role is not to judge them harshly, but to approach them with wisdom and compassion. In doing so, we free ourselves from the negativity that can arise from falsehoods and deception. Instead, we create space for truth, kindness, and understanding to flourish. The Buddhist teachings are not just about understanding others. They are also about understanding ourselves. When we see the masks of others, we must ask ourselves, am I wearing any masks? Are we pretending to be something we are not in order to fit in, gain approval, or protect ourselves. True authenticity begins with self-awareness. Only when we are honest with ourselves can we truly be honest with others. As we move forward in life, we must remember that authenticity is not something we can find outside of ourselves. It is something that comes from within. When we live in alignment with our true nature, we naturally attract those who are also authentic. And in this way, we create a circle of genuine connection, free from the deception that causes so much suffering. The Buddha teaches us that the path to peace is a path of truth. When we let go of the illusions we hold about ourselves and others, we open the door to true freedom. This freedom allows us to live in harmony with ourselves and with the world around us. We are no longer bound by the masks of others or by our own false ideas. Instead, we live in the clarity of truth, where deception cannot take root. In the end, the wisdom of the Buddha shows us that the only way to truly see through deception is by cultivating clarity, mindfulness, and compassion. When we do so, we are not only able to protect ourselves from falsehoods, but we are also able to help others find their way out of the cycle of samsara. This is the power of truth, the power to free ourselves and others from the illusions that bind us. Recognizing true friends through compassion and wisdom. A true friend is a rare treasure. Not many know how to recognize one. They are not the ones who promise you the world with their words, but the ones who show up with their actions, especially when you least expect it. In a world filled with masks, it is easy to mistake a fake friend for a genuine one. But when we learn to see clearly, we begin to notice the difference. The heart does not deceive. It knows the truth. True friendship is rooted in compassion. It is not about who is the loudest or the most impressive. It is about who listens, who understands, and who cares. Real friends are the ones who sit with you in silence, without judgment. They know your struggles and never try to fix them, but instead, they offer their presence. They know the value of just being there, not trying to change or control you. They accept you as you are, and they are willing to grow with you. In Buddhism, we are taught that compassion is one of the highest forms of wisdom. When we show compassion to others, we free ourselves from the cycle of attachment and expectation. A fake friend will always be motivated by personal gain, whether it's validation, attention, or resources. But a true friend is not seeking anything from you except your well-being. This is the first test of friendship. To understand who your true friends are, you must look at the way they treat others, not just you. A real friend does not speak ill of others or gossip. They are kind to everyone, not just the people who can offer them something in return. If someone speaks harshly of others, they are showing you who they truly are. Fake people often turn against those who are no longer useful to them. They might act kind when they need something, but their true nature will come out when they believe they can no longer gain from the relationship. True friends don't only support you when things are easy. They stand by you during the storms, when everyone else has turned their backs. They offer not just help, but understanding. They don't judge your failures. Instead, they help you see them as opportunities for growth. They do not expect you to be perfect, but they believe in your potential, even when you cannot see it yourself. This kind of friendship is built on a deep understanding that life is not about avoiding hardship, but about growing through it. The Buddha said, "The friend who is a refuge, a protector, who is your support and guide, that is the true friend." True friends are the ones who encourage your growth, even if it means challenging you to face your flaws. They see beyond your current state and help you walk the path of self-improvement. But how do you distinguish between someone who is pretending to be your friend and someone who is genuinely supportive? Fake friends often try to control or manipulate you. They might act as though they are looking out for your best interests, but their advice comes with hidden motives. Their kindness is not unconditional. It is a transaction. They want something in return. True friends, on the other hand, are free of hidden agendas. They simply want to see you thrive. They do not require anything in exchange for their support. Fake friends are often the ones who bring drama and negativity into your life. They are the ones who create conflict, then act as though they are the peacemakers. They feed on drama, and without it, they would have no reason to stay in your life. True friends do not need drama to stay connected. They are steady, calm, and grounded, like a deep river that flows steadily regardless of the weather. In Buddhism, we are taught the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who cultivate peace, not chaos. A true friend is someone who brings peace into your life. They do not add to the noise or stir up trouble. They help you see the world with clarity, without the distractions of unnecessary conflict or drama. But what if you feel that you have been deceived by someone who appeared to be a friend? What if you realize that you have allowed a fake person into your life? It can be painful to accept, but recognizing the truth is the first step toward freeing yourself from their influence. It is not about blaming them, but about learning from the experience. Understand that we cannot control others, but we can control how we respond. When we let go of attachments to people who do not truly care for us, we open ourselves to the possibility of meeting those who will. The Buddhist teachings remind us to cultivate the qualities of a true friend within ourselves first. We cannot expect to find genuine friends if we are not embodying those qualities ourselves. Compassion, kindness, patience, and wisdom are not just qualities we seek in others. They are qualities we must develop within ourselves. Only when we are true to ourselves can we attract true friends. We must first learn to be a true friend to ourselves, to accept ourselves as we are, and to grow with understanding. A fake friend will show their true nature through their actions. They may try to manipulate or deceive you, but their lack of sincerity will always come to light. A true friend, however, will show you the depth of their commitment through their unwavering support. They will stand by you not because they need something from you, but because they believe in your potential, your goodness, and your ability to overcome any challenge. Remember, the journey of recognizing true friends is not always easy. It requires patience and the willingness to look beyond surface-level interactions. It requires self-awareness and the courage to let go of relationships that do not serve your highest good. But when you cultivate the wisdom to see people for who they truly are, you will find that the company you keep becomes a reflection of your own inner peace. The Buddha said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." And in that love and affection, we find the space to recognize who is truly worthy of our friendship. True friends are those who help us grow, challenge us to become better, and love us for who we truly are. They do not wear masks. They do not hide their true selves. They are authentic, just as you should be. In the end, recognizing a true friend is not about finding someone who will always agree with you or support you in everything you do. A true friend is someone who sees you fully, flaws and all, and still chooses to walk beside you. They are not there to hold you back or to make you feel comfortable in your mistakes. They are there to push you toward your best self, to help you grow into the person you are meant to be. As you continue on your journey, remember that true friendship is a reflection of your own inner wisdom. When you cultivate a deep understanding of yourself, you will naturally attract people who embody the same qualities. Keep your heart open and trust that the right people will find their way into your life. You will know them when you see them because their presence will bring peace, clarity, and joy into your life, without the need for pretenses or masks. Conclusion: transforming your circle with awareness. Listen carefully, my friend, for this is the final teaching of this journey. Life is a web of connections, but not all threads are meant to hold you. Some are weak, fragile, and misleading. Others are strong, dependable, and nurturing. Knowing the difference can transform not only your relationships, but your entire way of living. You see, people reveal their true nature not through their words, but through their actions over time. Pay attention to how they treat you when you have nothing to offer. Do they stand beside you when you stumble? Do their words match their deeds? Or do they disappear when the winds of fortune change? This wisdom will guide you in understanding who deserves to be in your life. Imagine your circle as a garden. Every person is a seed. Some seeds grow into beautiful flowers, giving joy and wisdom. Others may grow into weeds, taking from the soil and giving nothing in return. The key is not to hate the weeds, but to recognize them and remove them with care. Protect your garden with mindfulness, and it will thrive. Buddhism teaches us to approach life with compassion and clarity. Compassion means we wish well even for those who have wronged us, but clarity means we do not let them stay close to harm us again. Both are needed. Forgive, but do not forget. Let go of anger, but do not let go of wisdom. Ask yourself this: who brings peace into your life? Who helps you grow? These are the people worth keeping close. And who creates chaos, speaks falsehoods, or drains your energy? It is not cruel to let them go. It is necessary for your peace. A Zen master once said, "Do not carry a heavy heart because of others' mistakes. Let them carry the weight of their own actions." Fake people do not define you. How you respond to them does. You cannot control others, but you can control the boundaries you set. Let me share a simple practice. Every morning, sit quietly and reflect. Who helped me grow yesterday? Who pulled me down? This mindfulness will slowly sharpen your awareness. It will reveal who is true and who is not. The more you practice, the clearer this becomes. When you remove the false, you make room for the true. When you let go of those who harm you, you open space for those who bring joy. Transformation does not come from changing others. It comes from changing your own perspective. There are so many views on this channel, yet only 0.2% subscribe. If you found this journey meaningful, if these words have touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. This helps us reach more seekers like you and continue sharing insights to light your path. Remember this, my friend. Life is too short to waste on those who wear masks. Surround yourself with truth, kindness, and authenticity. Let go of the fear of being alone, for true peace comes not from others, but from within. As you step forward, may you carry the light of awareness with you. Protect your circle, nurture your garden, and let your wisdom grow. The journey does not end here. This is only the beginning of a life lived with clarity and purpose. Go now, and let the seeds of this wisdom blossom in your life.